Good evening, viewers, and welcome back to the Friday Frothy here on a Saturday morning, Glennie.
Yes, exactly. The Friday, Saturday morning. That's exactly right.
It's a pre-recorded Friday Frothy interview. Go and grab yourself a froth, guys, and sit back. We've got another great interview tonight. We'll be back in a minute.
Guys, after my reviews, you're listening to the Friday Frothy. What a fantastic show.
So welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to the Friday Frothy for YouTube watchers and podcast listeners. Glennie, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good, mate. Yeah, pretty good. It's been a long week.
It's been a long time. Long time since I've seen you.
Very long time, mate. We've got to catch up a little bit more.
For those who don't know, we interviewed Alex Doolan actually last night, and
the Bush
Ranger.
Yeah.
And this morning we were interviewing Cameron Wurf,
yes,
who is over in Andorra, and it's 10:30 p.m. his time and 8:30 or 8 o'clock our time. So
an Australian professional triathlete.
Yes, and rower and cyclist.
He must everything.
He's got it all.
He's got it all. Well, we're really going to be interested to listen to him, and I hope you viewers out there
my word,
tune in.
And Glennie, if you're out there and you like what we're doing, please subscribe to YouTube.
Ring that bell.
Yeah, ring the bell and follow us on podcast.
I love ringing the bell myself. Ring the bell.
And get on to Alex Doolan's interview last week. Fantastic,
sensational guy. Really good of him to give up his time straight off the ground yesterday, straight into the frothy bar, and we wish him well. I don't know how they're going to go with cricket today. It's a little bit
damp out there,
but it should be fine.
All right, let's get the show on the road, Glennie. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cameron Wurf.
At our house for dinner and having dinner once a week, and maps on the table, and Dad's showing him where to catch the fish, and really sort of mentored him into the industry. And of course, I think seeing someone that was a hero, an idol, learning from my dad, I was like, wow, he's actually just another bloke that puts his underpants on the same way as I do. Why can't I one day get there? And, at the time, I was only 12, so I'd certainly never been in a rowing boat, but I did 1 year at Friends, and obviously rowing was a sport there, and as soon as I had the opportunity, I gave it a whirl, and that was that. Never looked back. It was funny though. I then went to Hutchins after a year at Friends, and I did the rest of my high schooling there, and I think it wasn't until I was about 16 that they finally let me row. I was in the coxswain seat pretty much my whole schooling life because I was pretty small, and didn't matter how well I did in the single or something, they just kept throwing me in there. So it was quite satisfying to make the Olympic team at 19, 20 years old. A few years before, I wasn't even able to get in the school boat.
My word. How'd you go at the Olympics?
We got flogged. We got absolutely massacred. We'd won the under-23 World Championship the year before, and I guess went in with too much confidence, and got our absolutely butt spanked in the heat. And once you're on the back foot, with the ranking system, with advancing to semi-finals and so forth, it obviously makes it harder for yourself, and just weren't mature enough to dig our way out of that, and certainly underperformed. But that was pretty tough. It's one thing to go to the Olympics, and it's great to be able to say that I've been, and I haven't been since. I've done other sports, but it's pretty harsh. It's harsh being there, seeing others win and realising the difference between making the team and then actually having some success at the Olympics, and not only that, but realising the limited opportunities you get to do that. So, I'm 36 now. Certainly I don't think I'll be at this Olympics. Obviously the triathlons I do are very different to Olympic distance, and I'm racing back on the road on the bike, but it's probably a bit far-fetched to make the Olympic team with that. So
Cameron, maybe
I'm going to have to.
Maybe no one's going to the Olympics, mate.
Well, category for Paris. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, as you said, I don't know if you heard Jeff, but perhaps as he said, there won't be Olympics the way things are.
No.
The way things are going at the moment, so not this year at any rate.
That's what they're saying. So might have to try and figure something out for Paris. It'd be nice to. Certainly, the last contracts I've signed are sort of multi-year like 4+ year
Okay.
deal. So designed to take me through to the end. And I guess I've made the next Olympics as potentially the end of sport. So obviously I'd love to be there.
Yeah,
Otherwise it'd be a weird ending.
So, Cameron, you've gone from rowing and then you've jumped onto a cycle. That's right, a push bike, a bicycle, a bicycle. It's early here in the morning. How'd that come about, mate?
I actually had tendonitis rowing, so I had to have surgery on that. And it was just on the bike and training, and realised it was much more enjoyable going forwards than backwards. So I kept at it and did a couple of races and seemed to pick it up pretty quick. And also was, I was 20, 21. You get into a point where I was at university doing finance and economics, and you got to get a job and make some money. And fortunately, cycling is a professional sport in Europe and affords you the opportunity to make a decent living. So was able to put off working in the real world for a little while doing that. So that was. I've always wanted to be a professional athlete. I've always struggled to say which one.
It's pretty.
At one point, I wanted to play football, and I've always wanted to pretty much have a crack at anything. So
it must be
how it's turned out.
It must be pretty cool to be gifted in so many different sports.
It doesn't feel like I'm gifted. I think I just work hard. I love exercising. I love training, and one of the biggest things, one of the luckiest things I know a lot of top sportsmen, like in every sport, and the big thing is the best make it look like they don't work hard, but they work a lot harder than anyone else. The ones with longevity, the ones that are there, for a long time, the Gary Abletts, the guys like that stay at the top, Buckley, in football, and then of course you got like a Craig Lowndes in V8 Supercars or Kenny Win Cup, just as examples, as far as Australian sport goes. But those guys, they just work way harder, and from a high performance, staff people that are close, to tell you the stuff they do compared to the young guys, it's just next level. So it's good to know you get out of it what you put in. So I'm prepared to work pretty hard.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now, Cameron, did you do, when you said you wanted to do that professionally with the bike and the triathlete and that, was you actually doing that here, or did you just go over and set yourself up over there?
Well, the first race I did was the national championships in Australia, and then the national federation said, you've obviously got a bit of talent, and I was obviously reasonably young at that point, and they took me to Italy. And the funny thing was, the first year I went over there cycling, I actually stayed with the rowing team. So I was there racing my bike, and on the weekends I'd go to a bike race, an amateur bike race. And the rowing team would be preparing for the World Championships, and that was 2007. And they kind of assumed that I'd get the bug out of my system and go back to rowing. So they kind of kept me close, and I think even cycling thought I'd get my butt kicked and want to go back to rowing. And I ended up, having a bit of success that year in Europe. They told me if I won a certain race in France, a smaller race that was in France towards the end of the year, that they'd pick me for the national team, and I won that. So I was on the national team. So, in the space of 12 months, I represented Australia in 2 different sports, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
And I guess at that point, pardon the pun, I didn't look back. I kept looking forwards and stayed on the bike, and obviously then, segued into triathlon.
How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with cycling, it was great, the journey making it to that level, but once I got there, I really struggled. Once I got to the top tier, I guess I just didn't really fit in. To be honest, I chose an Italian team. I had quite a few options to turn professional. I chose the big Italian team because I was living there, and I thought that'd be cool, and it was the big team in Italy, and they didn't really understand me. I really didn't understand them, and it was sort of 5 years of banging my head against a brick wall, basically. And I still had a contract, fortunately, at the end, and the bike manufacturer, Cannondale, when I said I wanted to stop, said, well, how about you come to the US and be an ambassador for us for a year and figure out what the hell you want to do. It's easier for you to get a job when you've got a job. And and that was great, you know, and in allowing me to do that, and I think it lasted until about July, where I sort of didn't really have to do anything, and I was like, this sucks. I don't ever want to retire. And so I did an Ironman just for a bit of fun, and loved it, you know.
Oh, so you did the Ironman? Okay, yep. Yeah, I was just going to say you did the Ironman, yeah.
Yeah, so that was just for a bit of fun, and just all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is one really cool sport, you know. And as I said earlier on, I love working, you know, I love training, I love exercising. Like exercising is my favourite thing to do on the planet. Doesn't matter what it is. And I guess it's one sport, apart from, I guess, modern pentathlon or something, that really rewards someone that loves exercising, you know, getting to do so many different disciplines. I took a couple of years, and I was hesitant at first because they kind of given up on the pro sport thing and all the sacrifices and stuff, so it was actually 12 months, and it was actually Ritchie Port. I came home at the end of 2016, and I was actually looking at going back to the US and working in finance, and I was training with Ritchie over the summer and really enjoying that, and that was the year he went off and he won Tour Down Under for the first time, and he ran into the Team Sky cycling coach, you know, at the Tour Down Under, and told him he'd been training with me, and the next thing I got a call from them that Chris Froome was up on the Gold Coast training alone, and would I like to go up and give him some company?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's like a bit of that's like a nice little retirement swan song. Go and train with the Tour de France champ.
Yeah.
Might be my last foray, and had 10 days with him, and at the end of that, you know, they said to me, well, you can't quit sport, you know, you've still got a bit to offer. What do you want to do? And I said, well, I really like Ironman. And they said, well, how about we support you to do that? And so here we are, 3 years down the line, and I guess I'm a contender for Kona again, which is really exciting.
Then you've broken some world records.
Well, on the bike, I guess now as far as Ironman triathlon goes, I'm the fastest, that an Australian's ever done. I think I did 7:45 last year in a race, which is quicker than anyone had done before. So, which is a bit strange because we've got guys that have won Hawaii. I've never won Hawaii. My best is 5th last year. Got a guy that's won it 3 times, Craig Alexander. Another guy's won it 2, Chris McCormick, and then Greg Welsh, Pete Jacobs. They've both won it once, but as far as a course record goes, I won the Ironman in Australia last year, which is important. I think as an Australian, you want to be the guy that goes and represents your country on the biggest stage. You want to be able to say you won your national race, so I was proud to win that.
You're doing you do the bike, the run, and you were saying that
and
the swim, of course. So with the bike, with the run, you're doing 42 k's, roughly.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the bike.
So it's basically like swimming, I guess, from Possum Bay to Sandy Bay, and then riding to Launceston, and then running back to Perth. Or Campbelltown.
Yeah, that's extraordinary.
I don't mean to be rude, mate, but you're crazy. Wow.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, the funny thing, like when you're training, if you just do the swim, like a hard swim for 3.8k, like you'll finish that and you go, that was a bloody good workout. Like I'm pretty content to go home and do nothing for the rest of the day. If you ride to Launceston, as you can imagine, you can be pretty content that you've had a decent ride, even if you've started in Launceston and you've got the sea breeze behind you, or the northerly blowing down from Lonnie. But and if you run a marathon, obviously, there's no easy way to do a marathon, but it's so psychological. I mean, now I'm getting towards the swim, instead of thinking about the fact that I've just spent 50 minutes with lactic acid coming out of my eyeballs and my fingernails, you know, I start thinking, I can't wait to get out of the bloody water and get on my bike.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
at least I can use my legs. And then likely with the bike, you know, you get towards the end of the bike and I start thinking, fuck, my back's killing me, my bloody balls are aching on this seat. I just can't wait to get off the bloody thing and stand up and have a stretch and start running. So, you know, it's pretty incredible, the mental games. And also, having said that, how easy it is for you to switch off. You know, if you give up, you know, if you say, I'm done, you will stop.
You will stop. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's definitely a very mental discipline in every aspect.
I was gonna. I was just gonna ask you, from a fitness freak like myself who gets a stitch just walking up to the bus stop, how do you fight through that barrier of pain? How do you keep going? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the thing. I honestly don't want to sound like someone hardcore and it hurts so much and you just ignore it. Panadol helps. Lots of Panadol. But yeah, I mean, it's just the last thing in the world you're thinking of. You know, I mean, it's incredible what adrenaline will do, and I think an effort like that, you know, which is so extreme, and you know, you got to remember as well. Not only that are we doing it, but we're now, and it's kind of my own stupid fault. It's become a real race. I think before I came along, you know, the bike was almost treated as a portion of the race to get them from the swim to the run, and then the race would start. Whereas I came along and the bike record in Hawaii, for example, was 4 hours 20, which was, you know, it was around 42k an hour average, and I came along and rode, you know, nearly 44k an hour. So all of a sudden, you know, we're doing 4:08 or 4:09, you know, going a hell of a lot faster, and then as I've learned to run over the years, then everyone else has also learned they've learned to ride quicker and run fast still. So it's become, you know, a full on race, and some guys have adapted, and others that had raced it more traditionally back in the day have, you know, they've fallen off. So it's a bloody exciting time, I think, in the sport. You know, not that I want to compare, you know, what we're doing to Kipchoge, but I mean, I'm sure, you know, the breaking 2 hour thing with the marathon, if you followed Eliud Kipchoge, and it's fascinating. You know, I mean, you think about, you know, running, what is it? It's 13 miles an hour, which is 21k an hour, you know, for 2 hours.
Crazy, isn't it?
You know, it's insane. You know, and yet, you know, 5 years ago, none of us were talking about the marathon. You know, like you know, we can actually relate to it now. It's mind-boggling what he's able to do, and you know, I think my sport, if I look at, you know, where marathon was 5 years ago and sort of where we are now, I think it's in pretty, you know, I think it's a pretty exciting time where, you know, it's a good test of what the human body's capable of, and we're certainly, I think, pushing it to the limit. I don't know what to do to my life expectancy, but I'm sure I've lost a few years.
Yeah. What do the fields look like? What sort of, how many would be in the, you know, when you're actually racing? What are we talking about in numbers? How many are you competing against, mate?
It's such a unique race, Ironman triathlon.
Yeah.
Well, Hawaii is the World Championship, so it's the top 50 athletes in the world, both men and women. So you have to qualify.
Yep.
It's the top 50, you know, in the world rankings, basically. And then they have the age group athletes. There's another 3,000 of them. So there's 50 of us and 3,000 of them. And it's pretty incredible that we start about 30 minutes before them. I've never really taken much notice because you're gone. But so you swim, you do which is one big loop, you know, 3.8, so whatever it is, nearly 2k up and 2k back. And then the bike leg is the same. It's sort of basically 90k up, 90k back, and then the run is one big circle. So when you're on the bike and you're riding back, you just see thousands of people, you know, riding along as well. And then when you're on the run, you know, there's a couple of crossovers where you're seeing You know, you might see a 60-year-old grandma, you know, trudging out to start her run as you're finishing. You know, and they'll take double the time that you've taken to do it. But I mean, it's not like any of us can go and run out in the MCG with, you know, with Geelong in the grand final. You know, and play the first quarter and then go
true.
Watch the rest of the game.
Be all right, mate.
So it's quite a unique sport in that regard, and it's obviously not for. You know, for everyone, but for the endurance junkies, it's that's what makes the sport so special is the fact that you get such vast. You know, you literally. I mean, we're taking 8 hours, and the cutoff is 17. So you're literally getting people that take double the time to do it.
Wow.
Yet the experience really is identical because you're both trying to get from A to B as quickly as possible. It doesn't change. You know, which is what's great as well. You can all relate to each other. So so that's, I guess, our sport in a nutshell. It's pretty unique.
What's the spacings between you? Like obviously you do a bit. Say you're in Hawaii, you've just done a major triathlete. What's the I suppose the recovery or your next, you know, when the next big meet comes up or whatever.
Everyone's really different. I mean, I've only been doing it a couple of years, so I kind of needed to learn. And I love racing, so in 2018 I actually did 8 of them.
8?
So I was basically doing every month, But I wasn't running very fast, so the run, I mean, you know, you can condition yourself to swim and ride. I mean, obviously riding the bike, I raced professionally for so long. Really riding the bike that far isn't a big deal to me, but the run is what hurts you.
It's the hurt.
And so, last year, I mentioned Kipchoge. I actually have the same coaching staff with Nike and the support group. So I do the same schedule. You know, it was pretty fascinating. We were both training last year. Obviously, Kona was on the exact same day as he broke the 2-hour thing in Vienna, that project.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
And so we followed an identical running schedule in that all the key workouts we did were the same. His speeds were obviously remarkably different to mine. But I remember a session 4 weeks before Kona and 4 weeks before his event, and we both had a 2-hour tempo run, and I'd do that. I'd run about 30k. I'd run about 4-minute pace, which is around 2:48 marathon pace, which, you know, in my sport is considered quick. Yeah. He ran 40.2k. So he ran an extra 10k than me in 2 hours in training. And I was just like, holy crap. That is just mind-boggling even for me who trains full-time, you know? So, but anyway, just on that, my running's improved a lot, and so that means that it takes a lot more out of me when I race because I go faster, like the impact, and so I haven't been able to race as much. So I'm racing about 2 to 3 to 4 times a year now.
Okay, a silly question. Are you a big guy? Are you height-wise and height?
I'm 6 foot.
6 foot.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot and about 70. Well, I mean, I'm 75 kilos, and then I'll maybe be 71, 72 by the time we get to Kona when I trim up a bit.
Yeah, so do you, I suppose the question is, in between, do you have a bit of an eating binge to get the weight up to burn back off, mate? Or because otherwise you'd be 60 kilos?
Now that I try, I mean, in the off-season I can put on, after Kona, I'll put on 10 kilos in 2 weeks. I'll be 80 kilos, 81 kilos, 82 pretty quick. Obviously all crap. Beer and chips and pizza and whatever else.
Jeez, I feel good, man. Yeah, right. I might go for it. You'll laugh at this. I might go for a 25k walk down to the casino and back. We're on the eastern side, mate. How good's that?
Cameron, how much do you shred during a race? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, you'll dump about. I mean, I'll probably lose 2 to 3 kilos during the race, as in by the time I finish. But you've drunk. You might have drunk 10 litres.
10 litres of water.
You would sweat.
Yeah,
You would set 10, 15 litres during an Ironman, especially one like Kona.
Yep.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
You know, where it's 30 degrees over there, 30 plus and 90% humidity. I mean, that's the other thing. That island isn't built for humans to live, or anything to live for that matter. Coronavirus wouldn't survive there, no way.
And mate, have you ever got to the stage where you've been in a race and you just physically just can't go any further? You mentally can't? The year before I did 8 races, so I did that 2 years in a row. In 2017, I got to Bustleton, and I was on the bike, and I'd been to Kona the first time, and broke the bike course record, and sort of had I guess I had a bit of swagger about myself, rocked up to an Australian race, and you sort of like, all of a sudden, a bit of the show, and and I tried to blow them all away on the bike, and I just went absolute, flat knacker for the first 2 hours with complete disregard for the last 2, and I literally just had to stop. I had to stop, and I just started dry reaching on the side of the road. And I was about 20-30k back from transition, and I actually had to take shortcuts to get back. I didn't think I was going to make it back, and I've never ever been like that in my life since or before. Like that helpless. I mean, you just. I always say death before DNF. Like, I don't know how to finish it. But definitely, I would have been death if I tried to go on, I would imagine. But that was just a full year of racing all over the world. I was trying to qualify for Kona. I literally, that year, scraped in. I was the last person that made the cut on the world rankings, chasing points everywhere. And which was great because it gave us a lot of intel about the race, and obviously since then I've done better and better, and but obviously took a lot out of me, and I was pretty cool. So we learned a fair bit from that. And now that's why we live in Europe now. I live in Europe now with my wife, and we live in Andorra. We've been here a few years now, much more settled. I mean, the big thing that'll really slow you down is travel. And the big thing that'll make you improve is consistency. So the less you can move around and have to, make changes in your life, the better the gain. So it's good to finally be settled over here.
What's your regime? Like, obviously, your training is what you do, but gym, weights, to keep the legs. Obviously, everything's about your legs and upper body, the whole lot. Obviously, but
obviously, I don't want to give away secrets, or everyone will be breaking to it.
No, exactly. I'm only 56, mate. I might catch you. Don't worry about that.
Okay, you should be right then. The only real area we worry about weights now is running, because that's where you get injured. That's the biggest, threat to injury, and it's pretty interesting actually. There's 2 days a week where I do quite hard runs, where I do a track session in the morning, and then I run in the afternoon, just a recovery run. It's actually after the second run that I do weights, and the idea being that when your muscles are completely broken down, you train them to recruit and be strong. So when they're completely stuffed, like they're completely destroyed, you train them to work. You train them to, fast twitch, engage. And the idea is that'll, have your legs stronger and stronger for the back half of the run. Now, we really only started getting into that towards the end of last year, and I definitely noticed, I had much better ends to the run, so we're obviously into that a bit earlier this year, but I think that'll pay dividends. But it's really only the running. But I've also, rowing days, I used to go to the uni gym, from when I was about 14, I'd go there 5 days a week, and I'd put on my happy pants and, t-shirt with my sleeves cut off, and, arms one day, chest the next, shoulders the next, legs and back, so full on like bodybuilder style. And I think that foundation has meant that, I really haven't had too many problems with injuries at all, and I've been able to stay pretty healthy, and when I do a little bit of work, I tend to get good, good gains from it. So I think that's one lesson, as a kid, if you can get a good solid foundation of weights under your belt, for any sport, football, cricket, whatever. I think if you've had plans on wanting to be an elite athlete later on, it'll pay dividends down the line.
What age do you reckon you can? I know, obviously, hopefully your team's not listening to this, but at what age do you reckon you're the competing part? When will that be, mate? When are you going to pull the pin, as they say?
Never.
Well, I've said the next Olympics, I'd be 40 then.
Yeah.
The next games. So I guess that seems to, people are getting older in sport. I think that's a great sign of the direction sport's going. I mean, obviously every sport's had its trouble with scandals and things, but I genuinely believe that high performance and nutrition and sleep and training is becoming the drive behind the success of sporting organisations now and athletes, and cycling teams. I mean, sadly, thanks to the likes of Lance and whatever, we can't deny that we can't say, oh, we've never cheated, we've never done anything, because they've used those excuses. But obviously, I think one of the beauties of being an Australian is, there's other things in life.
Yeah.
If I'm not good enough at this, I know I can go and do something else.
Of course.
And Mark Jamieson, a Tasmanian guy, said to me once when he was a cyclist, champion Tasmanian cyclist, and he probably came through just before me and struggled to make the transition to professional. He said to me, I'd never take drugs because if I had a child and there was an issue, I could never live with myself. And I've never forgotten that, and not that I've ever been tempted or anything, but little things like that. So I think that back to the age thing, I think that longevity, you got Tom Brady in the NFL, a classic example, but
and he's re-signed, isn't he?
Roger Federer refuses to stop and slow down. These guys. Who knows? But certainly, I set my target for the next 4 years, and at the moment, I'm still improving without a doubt. I don't want to be someone that declines. I definitely want to find whatever my peak is, and I really want to win Hawaii. That's a big sporting event. It's something that I could be really proud of.
Is the testing?
Years to come, so.
Is the testing of WADA and all that? Is that something that you guys are screened with? You tested regularly, like in AFL, and that they tested all the time now, just randomly. So is that a big thing?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I'm obviously Australian still, even though I live in Europe. And I'm actually under the Australian system, and they've actually started target testing. So we have to provide an hour a day of where where we're going to be.
Yeah, really.
And if you're not in that spot and they turn up, then you get a strike. And if you get 3 of those in 12 months, you get a 2-year ban. Now, it's basically like parole. It is parole.
It is parole,
per day.
Yeah.
It is parole. I have mine set between 10 and 11 at night, and basically we've been out at dinner a number of times, and I've had to say, listen, Alan, Chloe, we've got to go, in case someone comes. And it's never actually happened, but a couple of times it's happened that the next morning they've turned up, and they said, they'll say, well, we're actually here outside of your time. I said, so you didn't have to answer the door. I said, I know that, but you'll just bang on the doorbell again tomorrow.
Wow.
But they said they've been told to targets. Because it's too predictable for them to come when you want them to come, so they're trying to come and surprise you. It's like, it's not exactly like a great surprise. It's part of the sport, but
it's getting ridiculous.
They're definitely trying. Well, they're definitely doing all they can to combat it. And that's fine. It's our job as athletes to compete. It's not our job to write the rules.
No, exactly right.
Rules, go into administration and change your tax. So you sign up for it, and you accept it all, and we earn good money, and it's part of it.
It's part and parcel of the sport.
Everyone's workplace is going to have. Everyone's workplace is going to have stuff that annoys you, and I wouldn't say that annoys us. It's just
part of the business.
It's definitely a very invasive thing, though. It's very invasive, and people probably don't really comprehend how invasive it is. The ones that want to throw mud and suggest that we're all cheating. It's quite laughable, really.
It's good for the guys and ladies, both men and women, that because you are, as you've explained to us, all the hard training, everything, not just now, but what you built up from when you was back at Hutchins. All that time it's taken to get where you are now. And then unfortunately, I suppose I can mention, I won't get into trouble, but then you got like that Chinese swimmer, or just one that's straight off the back. He's been pinged 8 years. Obviously he was guilty, with the testing and that. Do
you know the crazy thing about that? So I told you at the start about how I ended up even doing this sport. I was got invited to train with Chris Froome. Had a week with him, and at the end I said, listen, I'd like to do Ironman with our coach Tim Kerris, and he was a swimming physiologist. He actually worked with Dennis Cottrell in 2004 at the Olympics, and before that he was a rowing coach, so I'd known him from then. Anyway, Tim said, well, if you're going to do Ironman, you're going to need to learn to swim. So how about I'll take you down to a coach I know, and we're on the Gold Coast. So he takes me to Miami and introduces me to Dennis. Now Dennis is obviously coaching Sun Yang, and the first person I swam with was Sun Yang.
Oh no!
Obviously swimming, drafting, swimming behind someone is a huge thing. I mean, it's like being on a bike. It's like a massive difference because they move all the water for you.
Yeah.
So what Dennis would do was Sun Yang would do a 200. He'd make me start with him, and I'd try and stay with him as long as I could on his feet. He'd drop me, and then I'd wait down the other end. He'd swim 100 metres, and then when he pushed off the wall for his last 50, I'd jump on his feet when he was going at a more casual speed to understand the importance of making sure you don't get dropped. And anyway, but the thing was, even in Sun Yang's case, watching him work, he just worked. I saw him break the world record in the 200 freestyle at the end of 7K of swimming one night.
Yeah.
Midweek. You
Wow,
know? Like, I mean, it was like following Kipchoge with his running. It was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
How does he do this? How does he move so fast? It was incredible to watch.
Yeah.
So, obviously, what went on, Dennis coached him at Miami, and obviously for a reason. They'd send Sun over there when he was fit. He trained with Dennis, do everything right, obviously in Australia, and then sadly was whatever was going on back there has led him to where he's at now. But it sucks because that's the thing. I say that about Lance. I mean, people like Sun Yang, we can't deny anything because you got people that are nice people, that turn out to be, this. And so it's just the hiding to nowhere to even get involved in the conversation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it's good that they get caught. It's good that ultimately they get found out. Better late than never, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Cameron, probably a hard one to answer, mate. But your greatest achievement in your eyes so far in your career, what's your greatest achievement?
Honestly, I'd say when I broke 3 hours for the marathon. Like when I ran 3 hours for a marathon.
Yep.
In a race. I mean, that was. I mean, even all the other sports I've done and things I have achieved in success-wise, but that was one thing that when I started the sport, I'd never run, and I looked like a bag of rusty, busted spanners, getting carried by the butcher. I looked
I like it.
I had to really work on that, and when I did break that or run 3 hours that day, it was the day I got snuck into number 50 in the world and qualified for Kona. And obviously, the difference between not qualifying and qualifying is so huge. And since then, so many great things have happened. And so that for sure, doing something that I felt that I could do it if I worked hard, but deep down you're like, I don't know if this is ever going to really happen. For it to actually happen that day was, it's just the most amazing feeling. So,
And is there something in your career that you haven't achieved yet that you want to achieve?
Yeah, I want to be the best at something. I want to win Kona and win it better, quicker than anyone else has won it. I want to be able to say that when I'm all said and done, that I think I've been really fortunate. I've certainly done things that no one else has done, but I want to be remembered to be the best at something. So
Yeah, good on you, mate. Look, are you getting the recognition?
I was gonna say that,
Are you getting the recognition from Australia, tabloids and everything else about what you have done? Did you actually listen to to that sort of thing? In other words,
are you well known?
Are you well known? Obviously throughout people in triathletes and all that, but to general public, general public, does everyone know who Cameron Wurf is? Do you walk down the street over there and they go, that's Cameron Wurf, or how's it work, mate?
I do. I mean, obviously when I come home now, more people recognise me.
Yep. Well, we will then.
Yeah.
It's probably not like Richo being. There's probably more people around Richo at Knobwoods on Friday night and Christmas Eve than there is around me. I mean, you have a lot more fun if you hang around me than hang around him. But,
Well, mate, we'll catch up when you come down.
You don't do it for that. I mean, that's not really that important to me.
No.
I mean, you can say that cliche, but I guess I'm quite outward, confident and whatever, but I'm not very good at compliments. I don't really handle that part very well at all. I don't see myself as anything special.
Yeah.
And so people wanting to have a photo or do those things, I'm quite uncomfortable with. So
really,
it's really nice the way it is, but obviously you really appreciate it because I wouldn't expect that anyone would know or care who I am, but certainly when I'm home in Tassie, there's, especially when you're not there much, I probably get to spend 2 to 3 months a year there. When they say they're following you and whatever, it's really special because
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, mate,
we're proud of you.
Yeah.
We're certainly proud. Yeah.
Well, mate, we'll be following your career. Don't worry about that.
We've got young Alex Peroni over there too, isn't he?
Yes.
Same thing, living away.
But no, mate, be proud of what you've done and what you've achieved. And as Glenn said, when you come back to Tassie, mate, we'd love to catch up and have a beer with you and continue this chat because you're amazing.
No training then, mate. It's just one arms.
Yes.
When I come back at the end of the year, I'll be one of the greatest things that rowing taught me, by starting out my sporting career in rowing, was I learned how to binge drink.
You'll fit in well behind here, mate.
You have your national championships, your selection trials, your world championships, your Olympics, and you really get stuck in when all those are done. So
Cameron,
I'm really good at freaking turning it on when I have to.
Cameron, you're our kind of guy on the frothing here, mate.
Anyway, we've got it all on tap here, mate. It's all on tap
yes.
too, don't worry about that.
Mate, we won't keep you much longer.
No.
We heard last week that there was a cycling race over in Italy or somewhere over your way that was canned because a couple of riders were diagnosed with coronaviruses. How's that affecting the sport over there?
Well, our team we're actually on a ban. I mean, if I wanted to come to Tassie tomorrow, I actually couldn't. We're on a travel ban, any unnecessary travel. And we're not competing. The team isn't going to compete in March. Well, till the end of March. There's a race at the end of March in Spain that they plan to resume racing.
Yep.
So a lot of teams have then followed suit. I guess our team's sort of the number one team in the world, top team. So, sort of follow the leader a bit in that regard. And it's good that our team took the step because there can be financial ramifications, penalties for not racing and so forth. But there's enough teams that have pulled out that they've had to either cancel the events, like in Italy. The government actually put a ban on sporting events until the start of April. So there's 3 major races in the build-up to the Tour of Italy, which are all cancelled in March in Italy. So, and I was meant to be doing a couple of them. So I won't be racing, but the team's pretty. My team is they're pretty happy with us being in Andorra because, as I said, if anything gets too out of control, they can shut the borders and lock us in here. And we've got our training grounds. I've got a running track and a pool and plenty of places to ride my bike. So but at the moment she's on shutdown. So there's absolutely nothing happening, and they're going to just take a wait and see approach and see what it looks like in 4 weeks' time. But fingers crossed. From what I hear, it doesn't do very well in the heat. So here is obviously winter and it's going to be crap for another couple of months. So, and it's the worst sort of flu season, so it could get worse before it gets better. But I'd imagine by the summer it should be, at the latest it should be back under control. Yeah.
How does your wife? Obviously, you're married. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Married.
Yeah.
Yep. How does your wife?
We got married in Tassie, by the way. We got married. She's American, but she insisted on being legally married in Tasmania.
Nice.
What was your wife's? What was your wife's name?
Fallon.
Oh, yeah. Well, tell her thanks very much for
Yeah.
letting us
allowing
talk
the
to
time.
you with your time. But how does she? Like obviously with all your training and that, what does she do? Does she get into the sport too, or no?
Well, at the moment, she's cooking a baby.
Oh, really?
Ah, well,
congratulations.
mate. Well done. Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
the hardest job in the world. I've been told that by my wife.
They told me, like, you saw the big belly and everything. I didn't know the boobs got bigger too.
Yeah.
Ah, that all
mate.
grows, mate.
Yes.
Apparently.
I'm starting to think that I've been brewing a baby for the last 20 years, I think, actually. It's got to come out one of these days.
Yeah, so no, we're pretty excited about that. But she's actually studying. She's doing holistic nutrition. When I met her, she was working in finance, and
Yep.
she's quite intelligent. And then when I sort of got a bit more serious with this, and I needed to move back to Europe, she decided she would, support me, come and be a part of all that, and quit a job. And but she's obviously a bit too intelligent to sit around and do nothing. So she has always been into. She did a yoga instructor's course and been into nutrition. So she's doing a master's now, and I'm encouraging her to. We're looking around for places for her to do a doctorate as well after that. So
sensational.
that's great because it obviously sounds pretty corny, but they say behind any man's success there's always a better woman. But as far as diet and everything goes, which is so crucial for me. I mean, if I run out of fuel, you're just like a car. You're not going to go anywhere. And, she's constantly researching different things. I don't even really, ask what I want for dinner. I just get what's put in front of me and I eat it. And I rarely get sick. And performance is getting better. I'm training harder, and so certainly a team. There's no doubt about that. But but she's certainly not sitting at home waiting for me. It's sort of great that her passion has been able to amalgamate into mine. And I met her in Aspen actually. So Aspen's very similar type of town here to Andorra here. Quite ski town in the winter, and beautiful place in the summer in the mountains. So she's very happy with mountain life. So
cool.
Yeah, so we're really lucky with that. We've got a great life here. We love it. And obviously love. One thing you'll love this. We've been coming back to Australia. We've been together 4 years now, and there's a wallaby that kept coming to the front door and to the thing, and took it 2 years of when we came back for a few months of out there with crackers trying to train the thing to eat out of her hand. Anyway, finally last year she managed to actually get this bloody thing to eat out of her hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, she'd love it.
And then he rocked up on our wedding day as well. We had a little wedding at the house. And
Oh,
he was
wow.
there, so
That's cool.
yeah, so she loves Australia, so works really well.
Well, she'd love it where I am, mate. I've got a
got a
whole plantation of them at the moment. Wallabies and everything down there at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mate, we're gonna let you go and have some dinner, even though it's 11 o'clock at night there. Yes, mate.
It's been a fantastic interview because we've enjoyed it. I've certainly learnt more for the chat, and
My word.
and we'll be
It's a bit different to mainstream Tasmanian sport.
Yeah,
That's
mate.
what I do, but
Yeah.
well, that's what we've done. This is what this whole show's been about. It's finding guys that are at the top. And not just at the top, but at any level too.
It's
But
more
it's-
at the
it's-
top, but don't get recognition for the sport that
Exactly
they do.
right.
And highlighting someone like yourself from the career that you had, mate, is it's incredible, and it should be out there for people to see. So congratulations.
Yeah, no,
and
we're
thank you so much.
Thrilled to have you, and we hope we will see you when you do come down. But also, we wish you all the best success in the future and present.
My word.
thanks.
Thanks so much,
Well
mate.
done, Cameron.
Thanks, guys.
All the best.
Appreciate it.
No worries.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you.
You take it easy.
Great day.
Thank you.
Okay,
Enjoy your
thanks.
Saturday.
Will do, mate. Thank you.
Well, there you go, guys. Cameron Wurf, mate. What's happened here?
Oh, just I thought I'd just change, mate. It's a little bit cool.
You are like bloody Superman. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I just quick
don't even see it.
like that, mate. Yeah, I'm in the Olympics of changing quickly.
How good was he, mate?
No, look, he was fantastic, and look, we were honest. We didn't know a lot about him.
No.
And this is why
Well, we do what we do.
why we
Lenny.
do what we do. And I actually now, as silly as it sounds, I was saying just off air a minute ago that I have seen him in a triathlete. Now I remember watching it, but it probably didn't twig at the time. Who he is, because we don't see a lot of it.
No, we don't. We don't.
And I know Australians don't see a lot of it. They don't see a lot of the Iron Men, as he calls it.
No.
Triathlete. Absolute champion guy, though, mate.
Well, mate, Cameron, you're watching out there, mate. Thank you so much,
champion
and
guy.
we would love to catch up and have a beer with you next time you're down in
Absolutely.
And
But what a champion.
mate, I don't think we've come across a person yet that we've interviewed that hasn't been a champion, and as you said, we
Person, that's what we're talking about. Champion
the pair of us, Glenn and I, will talk before an interview, guys, and say, "Oh, how's this going to go? We don't know this person, we don't know about their sport, and all that sort of stuff." And it always comes off just fantastic.
It does, yeah, because say we can only we're in awe, I suppose, of as I said, the hard commitment. That I can't believe the sort of stuff they do.
Yeah.
I just can't believe it. So when they do get paid the money, and there's no good people whinging and saying, "Oh, well, they get that and they get that." They've put in the hard yards. That's been their job,
Just,
mate. And,
just like us, Glennie, we're putting in the hard yards. Next week, guys, Scott Wade.
yeah,
the
the
Friday
great Scott
Frothy.
Wade. Yeah, well,
in
he-
the Frothy Bar Life.
another champion guy, and I'm looking forward to that interview, mate.
Ex-Hawthorn.
He'll be like me. He won't be too happy with it. There was only a practice match. He won't be too happy.
That's
with
all right.
that,
So yeah,
but-
Scott Wade live in the Frothy Bar
Yep.
next week. Big thanks to our sponsor Corey. Corey's going
Oh,
landscaping.
absolute! Always,
Thank you.
Corey does a fantastic job, and
And guys, if you're out there and you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button and
I'll ring the bell.
And-
Always ring the bell.
give it a good old share, because we're talking to some fantastic people now around the world, and we might even be going into the States shortly and talking to some
Well, that'd be sensational.
NFL players and
Well, how good would that be?
and Major Baseball League.
Well, this is
we're growing.
We're trying to get in the big leagues. They've got some of the athletes. They've been there, done that, but we're trying to get there. So.
Subscribe, like, and share, guys.
Like it, because we try. Jeff and Alison does a fantastic job to put this up, and you do a hell of a lot of work to get these people on the show, and so hopefully we get the rewards, mate. I'm sure we will.
We'll see you next week with Scott Wade here on the Friday Frothy. Have a good week, Lenny.
I will.
Bye.